Hello and welcome to the UA Compliance Test Tool video for automatic server testing. In this video we're going to look at what this means to do automatic server testing, the command line interface of the CTT, a demonstration, a look at the documentation, and a very brief discussion of how you can integrate the CTT into a CI like Jenkins. The CTT's command line arguments can really help to automate compliance testing. We want to do this because we want to remove the human from testing. Computers do a much better job. They're consistent, they don't get tired, they're not prone to misinterpretation, and they're very, very fast. If you incorporate the CTT into a CI, you can accomplish automatic background compliance testing as part of your overnight build process. And this can make massive savings on engineering costs and re-engineering costs. You can also detect problems much sooner, and therefore you can prevent them from making it into your production release code. With this ability, you can also add additional tests to the CTT, thereby extending to do very specific tests that apply to you and your product. This will only increase the amount of testing that your product receives, thereby increasing the overall quality, which we expect to increase overall customer satisfaction. So how does this work? Well, we're going to show you a demonstration in a moment where we're using batch files. This script will launch the CTT from the command line, specifying a number of arguments. The CTT will load the project and any of those checkboxes to specify what to test, and then it's going to connect to the server and run through that battery of tests. At the end, the CTT is going to return a code that will tell us if it passed, failed, or if it passed with warnings. This will help you to create the ultimate build process. Imagine the scenario where at the end of the day your program is checking their source code, and then during the night some kind of a CI system does a checkout, compiles the code, runs any unit tests, and then does compliance testing. And then based on that compliance test result, this CI can determine what to do next. Does it halt the build process and tell you there's a problem? Or is it happy and does it continue building documentation and installers, etc.? So how do you specify what to test? So the first thing you're going to need to do is open the CTT, open your project, and then in the background you can see the profiles and conformance units, and you'll just go down checking the boxes for the test you want to conduct. Then in the project menu, you'll click the Save Selection State, and then that information will get saved into an XML file. And you can load that by using the Load Selection State in the same menu. The command line interface and the return codes are in the CTT help documentation. In fact, that's where this information came from. So you'll see in the top table there's a number of parameters that allow you to choose the project, the selection file, hide the GUI, close the application automatically on completion, etc., etc. And at the bottom you can see the three return codes for if the CTT tests pass with warnings or fail with errors. So we'll take a look at a video now to show 4 separate tests. The first 2 tests will open the GUI, keep the GUI open after the test is complete. They'll pass, one will fail. And then the second set of tests will have a failure and a pass, but the GUI will automatically close at the end of testing. So we've got a command line and the server running. So we just kick off the script, CTT open, loaded the project, did the test, just a very quick test. And this one passed, no errors. As we scroll down, we can see just how many tests were selected. And again, it's yellow, so when we quit and save the changes, our batch file says warning at the top, so based on the return code. So run the next test. Again, this should keep the GUI open, but we're expecting this one to fail. So the test is already completed. We can see the red icon indicating a failure. As we scroll down, we can see the script that failed and see all the other script results also. So if we close and save, the batch file says failure, again based on the return code. So the next two tests, this first test should fail also, but the GUI should close when the test is complete, and it does, and we can see failure. And the last test, same thing. This time we expect a success, and the GUI closes, and we see the warning. The batch file that was used in the last video, it's very simple. We put it on screen here. You can see on line 7 where the command line is put together to launch the CTT and to specify the tests that are conducted. And then from line 8 down, it's simply the logic based on the result. So in this case, we're doing nothing but displaying a message. But you could do much more intelligent things like other build processes for other subcomponents, generating documentation, uploading content to a website, etc., etc. Your mind is your only limitation there. The CTT does contain extensive help documentation on the command line interface and integration as a whole. So you just open the CTT, go to the help menu, click contents, and the help documentation is in a browser. It's web-based. So you'll see there's an integration chapter, and then just open that. There's a lot of information in here that describes concepts, the command line interface itself, and then integration with the Jenkins CI. So Jenkins is a very popular open source CI system. We use it here at the OPC Foundation. And the CTT, like we've mentioned already, it can be very easily and quickly implemented to work as part of a Jenkins job. The CTT documentation that we just showed you contains step-by-step instructions that will help you to get it configured. So once you've got this in place, the CTT, like we mentioned already, can now be used in a much more intelligent way to determine how your build process should continue. Should it continue or should it not continue? If you experience a single failure, does that constitute an entire failure? There's other plugins that you can download as part of the Jenkins framework that will be able to analyze the CTT test results and then be much more intelligent. So you could say if there's 3 or more failures, then that's a failure. Or if the number of failures exceeds 5% of the total testing, then that constitutes a failure. So it's much more intelligent than what the CTT itself provides you. It's now the CTT is giving you information which you can then use to determine the next step in your build process. Other videos of interest would definitely be the script development. So we have a lot of scripts in the CTT, but you really should be adding more scripts that do very specific testing of your product. So if your product has a unique information model, you should be doing compliance testing to make sure that your implementation complies with your information model. And likewise, if there's other very specific behaviors, for example, if I write a value of 10 to some particular node that incurs some kind of behavior, then create scripts to actually verify that those behaviors work, and then integrating that as part of the overall testing in your CI only will improve the sheer quantity and quality of testing that your product receives. There is a lot of information in this video, and we hope that this is of a very important use to you. We see this as a massive benefit of the CTT, and one that will truly save you a lot of money in terms of engineering and testing. So we encourage you to incorporate the CTT into your CI today. If you have any questions or if you run into any problems setting up the CTT, then check out the help documentation, and if that doesn't help you, then please do contact us. We're always happy to help our members and to listen to any feedback, and just use the information on screen there. Thank you.